Off. All right. Hello, everybody. We are back with session number 5. And this time around, we're going to talk about charts and graphs. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I would like to tell you what Club Excel. Sorry, my name is Hassan. I'm the Learning and Development Manager for the Inenco Group. And what is Club Excel? It's basically bite-sized learning, small, short, tailored, very pragmatic learning sessions. And this session is being recorded. So if you've missed out or if you want to come back and watch it later, you will be able to do that. And we focus on one thing and one thing only, maybe 4 or 5 things within that one major thing. And then we just discuss those things. Today's learning, we are going to talk about touch point on 5 major things with regards to charts and graphs only in Excel. And we're going to talk about inserting charts and selecting the chart types. Now, this is primarily for the the beginners and a little bit of intermediates. The chart elements, the different elements which make up the chart and when to use what is most important. We're also going to talk about combo charts. So maybe combining 2 charts together, or maybe stating something within one chart to have a deeper discussion with. And then we're going to talk about aesthetics. This thing is cringeworthy. Sometimes I'm looking at graphs and charts which have been created on Excel, but they have now being presented on PowerPoint, and how they look. We're going to talk about that, and then exporting the chart to PowerPoint the right way. So what is the right way? How do you make sure that when you change the data in Excel, the charts are updated automatically? And there. All right. Okay, so let's move forward. Please, everybody, you have been sent on the meeting invite. There is a file, Excel file. If you could please open up that file. And if you have opened it up, please raise your hand. There's an option in there to raise your hand so that I would know that you are with me. I understand some of us are still working from home, just like me. So you might be working on a single screen or a single monitor. So I'm going to go slow because you might want to toggle between the Zoom and your Excel file, practice file. So you might want to do that. Also, those who've already opened up Excel, just to save time for the future, would you also please like to open up PowerPoint? Just open up PowerPoint and keep it ready as a blank slide. Nothing to do with that. It's just gonna come in handy when we move on to doing the exporting of charts to PowerPoint. All right, we have a question. I don't have the example. Todd, you have the example, please. You were invited on the invite from group learning email address. You accepted that invite. Please go into your calendar, open up your calendar invite, and you will see the Excel file on there. All right, let's move forward. Okay, now what are charts? Charts are basically, they help visualize data. You have data on your Excel. Charts help you make sense of that data. So for example, data like this would look like this. So it would help you make much more deeper and important decisions. This is just a sample of a price of 2 currencies. I've just taken that to just show you that this currency, this is probably USG, JPY, US dollar, Japanese yen. And, we can actually, when we visualize it, this does not show exactly where, our data went down, when the price went down and the price went up. But here you can actually see that the price went down till here on March 10th or somewhere here in this week. And then it just went, this is the top part, which is in February. So basically the idea is charts help you visualize, okay? Now, inserting charts and selecting the chart types. Let's move on to that. Let's first start off with Excel. If you could please open up Excel, the new sheet. Just give me, okay. All right, let's open up Excel sheet. I have somebody who's asking for, I'll just quickly respond to this email. They're asking me for the link. There you go, sorry about that. Okay, all right. So let's open up your Excel sheets, come on to sheet number 1. And we are going to now insert a chart for this data, okay? What I want you to do is I want you to simply just check if everything is okay. You have the headings up here, and these are very important. And then you have the data in here. So you can select, there are multiple ways of inserting a data. You can inserting a chart, you can select all the data, go into insert, and then you can actually select any one of those options, okay? But I would suggest going to recommended charts. Now here, when you click on the recommended charts, Excel actually tells you how your charts are going to look like, gives you what are the recommended charts. So you can click the first one, press clustered bar, we're going to press OK, and here you go. You have a new sheet which is opened up, and you will have this chart right here. If you can grab this chart from the corner and make it bigger, we're gonna just do a few things with it. So as you can see, here is a pivot chart field which is automatically opened up on your right side. Okay, now what is important here is, let's say I don't want the company, I want, if you go back to sheet number 1, it has a lot of fields. So gender, company name, sales for May and sales for June. So you have to be very clear on what you want out of your chart. So I want the sales of May for each of the employee. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do employee name. So I'm going to remove all of these things. I'm going to, so it becomes blank. This is like a pivot table. I'm going to select name, drag it into axis, and then I'm going to select May, sales May, and drag it into values. There you go. I have now sales of May for all the employees written here. Okay, I can click here, remove any, let's say I don't want, Raj was on leave, so I don't want to put his numbers. I can deselect, and there you go, Raj is vanished, no more Raj, and I can present this number. Okay, so that's the first way of putting in the charts. I will explain to you this step once again. I'm going to go back into sheet number 1. I made sure everything has a heading which is separate from each other. It has to be a different heading. And then I selected the data, and then I went in insert, and I recommended charts. You could go into each one of those, but this is better. It helps you visualize it. So this time around, I'm going to do bar chart, the simple bar chart. And because we have a different types, we have different types, categories of data. So male, female, company, sales, June. So it's basically giving us a recommendation of what do you want. It doesn't know what exactly you want. So it's just giving us options of, hey, do you want this, 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 or this? So, and it doesn't matter whichever one you select. So let's select this one. So as you can see now, it's created a new sheet, and it's given us gender. So we have the sum of sales of June with regards to gender, but then we can change this around because we have all of these things playing with us, right? So we can remove the gender, and we can put in sales of May as well, and we can put in the employee name on the axis. So as soon as I play around with it, it just puts in the employee name, and then you have in blue, you have the sales of May, and sales of June, and in orange you have sales of May. Now that we will discuss about the elements in the next part, but for now just try to understand how to play around with this. All you need to do is whatever you will drop in the axis, it will come on the axis category. This is the axis category. Okay, so if I drop the gender, it will come in the axis category, and whatever you drop in the values, it will make a graph chart out of that. Okay, so let's say I want to do company. I want to do it by company, so I want company, so the company will come in on the bottom, and I want the sales of May. There you go. So I have all the companies, 6-7 companies mentioned in this file, and then you have all the sales on the top. All right, so this is how one way. There is another way that I just want to quickly touch upon. If you could all come back to sheet number 1, please, and select, holding your left click down, select the name and press Control on your keypad. Keep it pressed, and now select June. Okay, so select name, press Control, select June, then go into Insert, then go into Recommended Charts, select the first one, click OK. There you go. So now you have sales of June only on the same sheet. So nothing has opened up. No new sheet has opened up. You just have sales of June. Okay. If you want, and this is a trick that I use, if I'm reporting on sales of June and I also have to report on sales of May, so multiple sales in the same good looking graph. So what I do is I copy this graph. So Control copy and Control V. So you get the same graph again. So when you select the next graph, you see these highlighted parts. Yeah, just come onto the corner and drag the highlighted part to May. You see that? Voila, you have sales of June and sales of May. Okay, sales of June, sales of May. You have two graphs, exactly the same, good looking graphs. So now you can take them and export them to PowerPoint. It'll look really, really nice. Okay, so please raise your hand if you are with me, and we can move forward. Okay, thank you very much. Great, awesome. So now you know how to insert charts and in your Excel. Okay, now let's move forward, and I'll try to explain what are the different types of charts and quickly, and what are they used for. This is basically a bar chart. It's used to give you a sense of numbers of a trend or a number. You could have months, you could have people, you could have companies, and you're comparing. It's basically a comparison tool. Okay, so that's comparison. This is a bar chart. This is a vertical bar chart. Now, when do we use this and when do we use this? Look, when we have a lot, because your screen is essentially landscape. So when we have a lot of numbers, big numbers, so your bars are really big, you tend to go towards this kind of bar chart. And if you have a lot of so let's say the number of months are a lot more, so a lot of things in the axis, a lot of companies, a lot of numbers here, then you go with this. So whichever is bigger. So if you have more numbers, bigger charts, bigger lines, you go with this one. If you have more of these, let's say the rows or the months, you go whatever amount you have in your axis, depends on which bar chart you're going to use. This is a pie chart. It basically, pie chart is a comparison. So it converts everything, the total, into 100%, and whatever your chunk is, it gives you in that percentage. For example, here the managers are 25.55%. Basically the managers, there are 58 managers, but we can't see the comparison of 58, but we see it in a comparison of the entire company. So we have individual contributors are 115 and these are 158. So it just helps us see what's the percentage within this pie. So this is a pie chart. This is a combination between a bar chart and a trend line. We're going to talk about trend lines later. So basically, this is the sum of numbers and this is this revenue. So you can compare the two different data points together. This is a simple line graph. A line graph is used when you have trends. So we can't use different employees and have a line chart because it's not a trend. A trend is when you have dates, or when you have time, or when you have a sequence of things connected to each other, then you show a trend. So for example, here you have November to August 14, and you see a trend. So that just helps you see it in that way. So these are the different 4 or 5 different charts types, and how and when they're used. Please raise your hand if you are okay with this to move on. Good response. Wow, you guys are awesome. Okay, let's start off with chart elements. All right, at this point in time, please go back to your Excel and just pick up one of the charts that you just created. I am going to delete this one, and I'm going to use this one, sales of June. I'm going to use this chart to explain to you, and for this purposes, I'm going to remove the grid lines from the back, and I'm going to just take this chart so that you are with me 100%. Okay, so I've just removed all the background noise so that, and I'm going to collapse the ribbon as well so that you're with me. Okay. All right. So when we say about elements of a chart, what do we mean? We mean these are the axes. There are 2 axes to a chart. This is the the y-axis, and this is the x-axis. So x-axis and the y-axis. This is the heading. These are the data points. Now, if you click on your chart, there is this beautiful plus sign which comes in. Okay, so you don't need to remember anything. You don't need to go into anything. You just select your chart, click here, and you have everything on your fingertips. Okay, you can have the axis, remove axis. You can put in the chart title. You can remove the chart title. Data labels. So when you want to put in the data on the top, to me this one is not looking nice because the numbers are bigger. So when numbers are smaller, I usually use this. So instead of that, the better option is to put in a data table. So if you notice the data table, see all the names here. Now watch, the data table tells you the numbers as well. So if you're presenting, let me just make it bigger. So if you're presenting, the numbers are here, and visualization can happen on the top. And if anybody wants to find out the numbers, they can see it at the bottom. So those are the elements. The trend line, we don't necessarily need a trend line with this particular one, but you can have all of those things. So let's say if I put in the axis titles, and I want to change because it just says axis title, so I can select it. So you see, I went here, I double clicked here, and I can now edit it. So June sales, my caps lock is on. There you go. I can edit here, select it, and I can do sales champions. Okay, so I can do this. Now if you feel like it's too small, you can select it, go into home, and just increase the size. You can move it around within, you can just move it around by holding it, as long as you're within the area of the chart. Similarly, I could do this, make it bigger, make it bolder, and this also I can make it bolder and bigger. Okay, so this is how you play around with the different elements of the charts. Look, there are more details that we can go into, but we're not going to touch on those because I want to focus on something which is more crucial to do with our day-to-day job. So I'm just going to leave this at that. So if you're understanding the elements of the charts, and by clicking here, you can, by plus sign, you get all the elements on your fingertips. And if you're able to see this, again, this grid line is also important. Yep. So if you are with me and we can move forward, please raise your hand and we will move forward. Beautiful. Let's go. Okay, so the first step for any chart is you need to clean up. All right, so remember our first 3 lessons. You just need to clean up the data before you go into the chart. Visualization is very important, but it's also important that you clean your data before we do that. Now, combo charts. All right, let's go with combo charts. Combo charts are basically, I want you to go into sheet 3. Please come on to sheet 3. Right. So this is actually your registration for today. So this is a registration for all the people who registered for today. It's an Excel file. I exported it out of the system. Now I have to be very clear on what chart I want to see. Okay. What is the chart I want to see? I would like to see the first name, or let me see. I want to see the business um, as a pie chart. So I want to see how many businesses in the as a pie chart, 100 as a percentage have registered for the Excel session. How do we do that? It's very simple. I just select the business column, just go down, I just select it. I go into insert, I go in directly into pie, and I select the pie chart. Okay, now it doesn't give me anything. Yeah, so what do I do now? I just delete it. Let me select the whole thing first. So I will select first name starting from here, first name and business. I will select these 4 columns, and I will then go insert. I will ask the recommended one, and I will go with that. Okay, so first I'm going to create any chart, and it'll create it on a new page with this kind of a pattern. All right, so now I can change this into, when you click on chart, you have this design. Okay, change start type, go into pie and say okay. There you go. So now I have somewhat of what I need, what I want, but this is not necessarily what I'm going to use. There are too many elements, there are too many colors, and it's just not going to work for me. So I'm going to change my visualization, and I'm going to go, hey, chart, the column was better, it looks much better, and there you have it. Now for some reason I'm just going to change one thing. Okay, let's say there were about 130 okay, you can't change this. I'll go back. I will okay, you don't have to do this. I'm just going to explain to you. So please bear with me. This is just for explanation purposes. So for example, let's say there were 230 participants from CRAM. Okay, now this graph is, I'm going to delete it, and this is business, this is count. So we're now going to work on this data. So I'm going to insert a new, see, okay, so see this bar chart now. Now what has 230 done? It's dwarfed, or it's just an outlier. It's just an outlier. So other graphs, other charts have bars have gone really small. So what do we do with this case is that the best way to visualize this kind of chart, when you have an outlier and then it dwarfs the others, is you select the chart, you go into chart design, and then you select, switch it, change the chart type, and you go into a bar chart. So this one, see this? Now this, again, it doesn't really, it helps in visualizing better because it's landscape now, and you have this enormous number which is dwarfing the others, but a little less now. Okay, it's dwarfing them less. So if that makes sense, you have now understood the part of what I was trying to make. Okay, the point I was trying to make. So let's go back I'm going to delete all of this because this is not required. What I'm going to do is just going to insert chart on this one, so we can come back. So, okay, so we have this chart now. Yeah. Now, what I would like to know is, I would also like to know the country you are from. So not only do I need to know as a visualization, I also would like to know the company. So if you notice, the business is on the axis. That means the business is on the axis. The value is the count of the last name. So all the counts. So let me just put the counts, data labels. See that? I just added the counts, 28, 21. There were 28 for Inenco Group, blah, blah, blah. And now I want to also include the country that they are representing. So what do? I select the country, or I just click on it, and it just shows something very vague. All right, so what it has done is, it has basically started off with the business at the bottom, and then it's divided the business into countries, which I don't want to do. And that is the reason, because if you notice here, the country is at the bottom, the business is at the top. That's why the country is showing later. So what do? I just select the country and put it on top of business, and there you go. This one should look much better. How? Because we have Australia, Indonesia, and New Zealand, and Singapore, and we can see the data. The companies fall within that. So Australia, we have these 7-8 companies. Indonesia, we have these companies. Now, I don't want business. I can just remove it out. Simple drag and drop. You have the countries now. Okay. I want to change this into a pie chart. I select it. I go here, design, change the type, and I convert this into a pie chart. Because I have fewer elements, this pie chart looks better. Okay. I can visualize it in different ways. So this paintbrush gives you different visualizations. You know, I like this better. Again, I want these to be bigger. I can select it, make it bigger, and easy as. Okay. So this is how you construct. Sorry, I started off with combo charts, and we've drifted into aesthetics again. It's one of the key things that I want to focus on today, so I keep going there. But you have now understood how we can have combo charts. So two data points. You just close this. You can have two data points, and you can have, let's say, the business here. There you go. So you have two businesses, two fields together, and you can have those here. If you can go back to sheet number 1, please, and try this here. So I'm going to delete this one and try this. So if you select name, press Control, select May, keep the control pressed, select June. Okay, and insert recommended. Okay, done. So now you have a beautiful looking chart in no time of all the sales reps here. And then you have the sales figures of May and sales figures of June. I don't know which, so you have this key here. You can move it around here if you want, and you can make it bigger. So now everybody knows what they are, but I also want the figures. If you remember, easy as, just click and click on data table. So now you have the figures at the bottom as well. We don't need this. If you don't need this, select it, delete it, gone. And now you have the data, and you have the bar charts for visualization, and you have the names. Easy, easy. You can change the title to sales report. Okay, now coming back to aesthetics, and I'll keep hitting on that. Do we really need this? Do we really need this? Or do we really need, if we have the numbers here, does this make sense? If it does make sense, keep it. Otherwise, if it does not, then what do I tend to usually do is I select this particular part and I just delete it. So for me, this was redundant. I have the numbers here. I can just put them up there. I don't necessarily need that to show. And also these lines, we don't talk about them later. But you understand this part, the combo charts, and please raise your hand. Perfect, thank you. All right, let's talk about my favorite part, which is aesthetics. And this is where the intermediate and slightly above intermediate big learners are also going to come into play. Now, why I'm so passionate about aesthetics is very simple, because charts like these, or like this, or like this, or like this, this, somebody decided to put a background of a chart and this. So these are the types of charts which you should not be making. And why is that? Is because, and I do end up seeing these kind of charts, and I'll go one by one into each one of them. I do get to see these charts sometimes. And they are very 1980. So Windows 3.2. Those who have worked on Microsoft Windows 3.2, please raise your hand. I would be very interested to know if there is somebody sitting on this webinar who's ever used Microsoft Windows 2.3. This was yeah, this was way back when we did not have Windows, before Windows 95, I'm guessing. So yeah, so you know, if you make a chart like this or like this, you know, it's why I don't like it is because there are so many elements and so many colors, and I'm lost here. Why don't I like this one? Because it's a 3D image, and what the screen that you're displaying on is a two-dimensional screen. So please stop using three-dimensional things on a two-dimensional screen. It does not look good. And also, do not ever put shadows. This is like a double fault. One, you've used a 3D image, and two, you've used shadow. So please don't use that. Also, it takes me you are making me work hard by going here and saying, I want, okay, EPP, and now I want to see what the color and this color look similar. You never know. Some people are borderline colorblind, or you know, their screens are not working, and then you sort of go into that area of you know, confusion. This one is a low resolution image. I hate low resolution. There, if you can see, there are these dotted parts here, and then you've just put in the colors, and I want to go here and then go here, and then this one I can't even see the number. So the lesson here is, please use do not put charts as photos, put them as charts, and we'll talk about that when we talk about exporting charts. Two, if you are putting in, do not break up your pie. I hate it when the pies are broken up. Keep it together, unless you're making a point and you want to make one slice go off. Other than that, please don't break up your pie. And it's like it's confusing. And three is align it. This 10 is coming out. Now if you're one of your attendees of a presentation is OCD like myself, they're just going to keep focusing on this 10. Do we have any OCD people in the webinar? Again, I'm very interested to know. Please raise your hand if you're OCD and you know these things bother you. Thank you very much. Apparently I have 10 OCD people sitting here. So and you know, I'm just going to be focusing on this 10 and not listen to you. Align it, put it inside. And then this one, oh my god, the color, I can't even see the color. So you're making me work hard to listen to you and then to make out of what you're presenting. Now this one, it is just amazing. It's a 3D. It's got this this old sort of borderline to it, and then you've just put in immense amount of numbers, and I don't know how to make sense of this. Okay, so let's talk about this one. This again is a 3D one. Somebody has decided to go uh, put in a combo chart with north, south, east, west, and these Tom, Dick, and Harry data. And this particular data, the west is hidden at the back. Do not use it. Don't use 3D stuff on 2D images. I've just received a message from Indonesia that some of the participants are not being able to come on to Zoom constantly. So for them, please don't worry. I'll make a video of this, and this is being recorded, and we will send you a video next week. So don't worry about it. Okay, let's continue. This one. So this is a really nice chart, really good chart. It's showing the price of US, the gold price. Yeah, the gold price going up, and it's showing the only problem is somebody decided to put a coin at the back. Now they had really good intentions. They wanted to make it graphically look really nice, but then it's creating confusion for me. I'm unable to read, first of all, what this is, and then, you know, why do I want, just don't put anything in the back and don't confuse me. Okay, same goes for this one. It's just yeah, it's 3D doesn't work. I created this one again. It looks flashy, but this is Windows 2.3. Don't use it. This is before 1995. Let's say 1990. So stop using this, please. Again, if you want to put colors and if you want to make it dark, again, dark colors don't look so nice. If you're presenting, please present it with a white background. And again, there's the shadows. I can't see the numbers. There's too many things going on here. This is an example of a beautiful looking chart. Okay, this is how you present your data, and I'll give you another option. This is another option. So you remember the tables we talk about. So you've put the numbers here, and then you have visualization. You've removed the axis. There are no axis, and see how beautiful it looks, nice and clean, two-dimensional, no shadow, nothing. And if you want to make, you know, if you want to make, if you are presenting and if you're telling a story, so for example, this is the chart, and since Raj has very few numbers, and I want to make a point that, hey, I want to explain this. So how about I explain, so I'll do the explanation later. Okay, so this is another example of a pie chart. Really nice. You have the numbers here, you have the percentage here, you can make sense. The colors are alternating. They're not mixing up with each other. They're different. They're standing out of the background. Please make sure you put one chart on each slide. And that is very important. You gotta remember this baby face. Okay, if you put more charts on each slide on PowerPoint, you're making this baby upset. Okay, and why is that? Is because your slides, usually some of the slides look like this, and here you have, like, you've tried to squeeze in 4 charts, and you have this text here, which is apparently your script that you're trying to say, so you're not required. And then you have tried to put in these charts with a microscopic font and text size, and now I'm lost. There's so many colors and so many 3-dimensional going in different directions. You know, Van Gogh is a famous artist who works with lights, and you used to work with lights and shadows, and he would when he would see this, he would go blind, because your shadows and your depths and everything is going in disarray. As you can see from my voice, I'm really passionate about this part. So please, confusion creates no sale. Okay, if I am selling you Microsoft Excel and charts and graphs on Microsoft Excel, and if I confuse you, there will be a point in time when you are going to lose me, and you're going to stop watching and listening to me, and you're going to go onto your Outlook and start doing your work. So see this chart. Now, if I remember, I was telling you that if I want to make sure I want to present it, so I present this slide 1, and I present this as slide 2. See, I made Raj's bar orange, and I said, unfortunately, Raj had to take a sick leave for the month. That's why his numbers were low. And if I want to say why Paul had the highest numbers, I say a new mining contract was procured in Northern Territory, and that's why Paul had high sales numbers. So see, I'm telling you a story and I've used 3 slides, but how much money do you pay for each slide? You don't pay anything. You can have 1,000 slides. And if you are in the whole mindset of calculating the time you will spend to present in comparison with the number of slides, you know how you've heard people say, hey, keep your presentation down to 10 slides or 5 slides, or keep it on 1 slide. Yeah, it doesn't matter, because I could present to you, see that we are on slide number 37. I could present to you 37 slides in like less than 20 minutes, or 30 minutes. Okay. Or I could do 100 slides in 5 minutes, or I could do 1 slide in a whole day. So please don't compare that. This slide looks nice, sleek, 2-dimensional, everything is clean. And this is how the aesthetics work. All right. So if you are with me and if you 100% agree with me, can I get some hands raised? Thank you. All right. Awesome. So one slide per, one chart per slide. All right. Okay, let's move forward. Now let's talk about exporting and exporting the charts the right way. So remember I asked you to create a PowerPoint, a new PowerPoint. So we're going to use this one to do that. Okay, I'm going to go here. So let's go back to Excel and select one of the charts that you've created. Okay, let's change a few things. Okay, let's go into sheet 4, please. Sheet 4. Now here is the, again, we've gone to currency, and this is US dollar, Japanese yen. A little bit of things I'm playing around with these days. So if you could please select date and the price and just go down and select the whole thing. Yep, keep going down. All right, awesome. And if you could insert, I will say it's a trend, so a trend line. There you go. So you've inserted this chart. It looks nice. All right. Now I'll take this opportunity to explain one more thing. See this empty space at the bottom? Now intermediate learners and advanced learners as well, if you have these things at the bottom and doesn't make sense to have them because your data actually starts off from here. So what can you do? You select this, you see this option which appears on your right side. You click on the size and property, sorry, text options. Wait, let me see. I click on the axis here, select the graph, select the axis. You get all of these things, right? So I go into bars, axis option, and it says, where it says bounds is what is increasing. All right, sorry, units is what is increasing. So I want to start off with, I don't want to start off with 0 bounds and 1. So 0 to 1, you see that 0 to 1, I don't want to start from 0. I would rather start with 0.5. So I'm going to change this to 0.5 and see what happens. Change it, and there you go. It's much better. The empty space is gone. I can even change it to 0.6. Let's do that. I go into this, 0.6, and done. Here you go. So now it's, the empty space is gone. I have much more real space to have my visualization clear. So the axis is showing you from 0.6 to 0.9, and it's much more doable. Now I want to put this chart on my slide. Yeah, so I'm going to select this chart. I want to Control C, or you can copy it, and let's go back into our PowerPoint. So you have this PowerPoint deck that you're presenting on. If you right click, you get paste options. Okay, so essentially you have just 5 options. How do you do that? First off, you put it as a picture. So when you do it as a picture, it has now become a photograph. You cannot edit it, you cannot change it. It's now a photograph. Okay, if you, it's not going to be dynamic. Okay, so that's photograph. Let's look at the other one. This one keeps the formatting of the colors. So let's say I go back, I change this to format. change this to orange. Okay, and I select it, copy it, come back, and I paste it. It's now putting it as, it keeps the formatting. So if you've changed any formatting, any changes in the font size or anything like that, it just changes, it keeps that, it retains that, this one. Okay, so it keeps the source formatting and the data link. Now data link is, again, you gotta save the Excel file and this PowerPoint file in the same folder and keep it linked. What do I mean by that? I'll explain it to you. So I have, see this, let's go on to my birthday, which is, let's go March 16th. Yeah. So March 16, 2017, this, you see this now, if I were to go back and if I were to go here, March 16th, okay, and I was to change something, let's say March 10th. Okay. So I want to change this to 1.2. I've just changed it on Excel, but look, it's automatically refreshed and change it on PowerPoint. And that is why we always use this one. But the idea is, the main thing that you want to remember is to keep both the files in the same folder. If you are not going to do that, if you're just going to email one PowerPoint, it is not going to be linked together. Okay, then the other options are not too much that you want to use. I tend to use this one, and it's the best one to use. Otherwise you can use this one, or you can use Keep Source Remembered in Gradebook, and basically just stick yourself to using linked one. It's always better. All right, so if you've understood this one, please raise your hand. We are running out of time. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so time for the shortcut of the month. So the shortcut is Alter F1, and that is to create a chart. How do we do that? Again, I will come on to one of the sheets here, say sheet 2, sheet 1, sorry. And I will select the name, and I will select the sales of May. And if I press Alter F1, it creates a new chart for me. So you don't have to go into insert and all of that. Alter F1, new chart, done. So that is our shortcut of the day, the month. I have an additional bonus shortcut, single figure F11. Now, what does F11 do? I will remove everything. So you see how I selected the data by pressing Control, and I did Control F1. Now Control F1 creates a chart on this sheet. But if I was to press F11, it is going to open up a brand new sheet and create a chart for me there. But it's linked to that chart, to that data. So see that? It's linked to that data, and I have created in a new sheet. So if you want to do that, F11 is your shortcut. And so today's learning, we have talked about inserting, how to insert chart, and what are the 5 basic types of charts and when do we use them. We talked about chart elements and the different things that you can play around with, the combo charts and how to present data, multiple data on the same chart. We talked in detail about aesthetics and the colors and the look and single slide of that. And then we talked about exporting the chart to PowerPoint the right way. So I'm going to start off with a poll, a feedback poll. This helps us to know if how the session went. If you could please answer this, it will really help us get better and make the next sessions. We alter the next sessions if we have to, but this is how this is all about charts and graphs that we wanted to cover. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them up and stick around. I'll be happy to assist and help out with any specific question that you may have. So you've done this. And if you don't have any questions, then thank you very much for your time, and you may leave. If you do have any questions, I'm sticking around for you. Please let me know if you have anything specific on charts and graphs. This again is going to be recorded, this session. I have a question now. Yeah, so I'm going to, okay, thank you. All right, no question. I will be sharing after this call. You know what? When I'm done with the editing of this webinar, and when I've uploaded it, what I'll do is I'll send you all the 5 episodes that we have done so far. So you will have all of them together in one email. I'll probably be sending it next week. Okay, so if I don't have any further questions, I think I do. Yes, yes, I will be sending the video. All right. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for your time and hope this was helpful, and see you all next month. Bye-bye.